I dread bringing up climate change and climate crisis. I dread it because it's so big and I'm so small and feel overwhelmed. What can I, as one single person, do about it? So I feel like, whoa, beyond what I can do. Last week, Sigrid and I were at a colloquy at a study group on Cape Cod. It was wonderful there. And climate crisis and what we can do about it was the focus of our week-long study. So what I share today is informed by what I heard and what we learned together. And we have had experts from science, from faith, from theology there sharing. And first of all, remember there is bad news and there is good news. So the bad news is it's really bad. Imagine last year, 2023, was the hottest year on record since we keep track of temperatures. Hottest year on record. Now imagine going forward, last year will be the coolest year you and we all experienced for the rest of our lives. The coolest year was last year. This year will be hotter, next year hotter. That's how it goes. And when I get that, I feel it in my body. It's kind of, whoa, it's really bad. And I tell you that all of this is science-based. Now, I am convinced of science. I tell you what, I'm just not a denier, so on. Science is real. Science gives us the hard facts. Science is, let's say you go to the doctor, you have your blood drawn, they do the labs on it, and that tells you something. What bugs you have, if you have an infection, what antibiotics you need. So science, medical science, it's all real. You and I, we would not be alive without it. Think of your phone, think of your computer, it would not work. All the inventions are based on physics, on science, on math. It's all working because of science. It's real. And the science just of climate change, those scientists know what they're talking about, and that's real. So I take it for hard facts. It's real. It's the honest truth when we're talking about it. Now, why is our planet heating up? Imagine it's like a layer in our atmosphere protecting the Earth from cooling down. Think of it. You go with your dog for a walk in the heat, you come back, and instead of the dog being able to cool down, you wrap your dog in a blanket. The dog cannot cool down. That's what's happening. It's this layer. The Earth cannot radiate off enough heat that it cools down during the night or in overall cooling down. So it's heating up, getting hotter. And that heat, that excess heat, most of it is absorbed by the water, by the oceans, and that creates then the melting and the rising of waters. And so it's really bad. It's really bad. What can we do about it? And that's where I felt like, it's so big. Can I, as individual, can we as a community really do something about it? First of all, preservation, conservation, protecting kind of lowering our footprint overall. So there are things that we learn, that we know, like you gotta exchange a light bulb, let the new one be LED. Your home, if you do an energy audit, you know where you can insulate to protect, and actually some of these improvements, some of the conservation pays off. You can use less red meat, because red meat, the cows and so on, they give off methane, and that's even worse than carbon dioxide. Or you can buy local food, go to the farmer's market. So make sure your food doesn't travel from California or from Chile or from wherever your food comes. And your next car could be hybrid or an electric car or just a smaller car. Think of solar panels, wind energy, becoming greener as a congregation and as individual people. So these are very practical things what we can do. Like your furnace breaks down, you don't need a gas or an oil furnace anymore. Well, gas is tricky, it may still work. But think of heat pumps to cool it down. The split units uses less, so we can use less and smaller our carbon footprint. So conservation and renewable energy. One big thing what we can do. That's not enough. Second thing of what we can do is we can advocate for greener policies, like all new cars built should be more fuel efficient. All new homes should have a standard insulation. Renewable power there should be tax incentives if you put solar panels on your house. So climate-friendly farming and climate-friendly policies really help, and that's where we can influence that. But again, all the conservation, all the protection, all the policy, all the investment into advocating, in lifting that up on a broader level is not enough. So what is our unique Christian, our faith response, our faithfulness to the climate crisis? And this is dear and close to my heart. Think of our scriptures. Think of what we just heard. The earth, the globe, is the Lord's, and all that is in it. It's sacred. It's holy. Fall in love with it again. It's amazing, the beauty of the earth. It's just, wow. And you know, when we fall in love with something, it's becoming tender and dear to our hearts, and we care for it, and we treasure it, and we hold it up, and we lift it up, and we delight in it. It's all very, very precious. So in theology, in our faith, we have traditions that hold creation up, like the Celtic, the Irish faith tradition, our Native American faith traditions. Lift it up that we are part of creation. We're not separate from it. What we do to creation is partly what we do to ourselves. We heard ourselves. When you think of God becoming real in Jesus Christ, real present like you and me, think of the whole earth being the body of Christ, being Jesus real. Do we crucify him again by our actions, by what we do? So the earth, the globe, it's God's, it's sacred, holy. Second thing, we do not walk it alone. We live in community. We belong together, one human family. And I think Martin Luther King Jr. had it right when he said, it really boils down to this, that all life is interconnected. We're caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. We're together in it. Think of, instead of me, what's in it for me, think of it as we together. That's the strength of our faith. We're together in it. What affects people somewhere else affects us all. It's ours. It's sacred. And the third thing, and that's what Ephesians picks up, it's the glory of the living Christ that ties together everything. And that is the hope part of our faith, the uniquely hope part of our faith. When you think of it, of your individual life, we face darkness, we face struggles, we even face death. I haven't found anyone who got out alive yet. Have you? No. But we face that in hope. We face it rooted in the hope of Jesus Christ, who in death, where destruction, where climate crisis is not the last word. And that is unique to our faith tradition. There is hope when we're together in it. When we trust that in and through the tragedy, God can use that. It is what Jesus lived for, it's how he died, it's how he rose that gives us hope. It's just like, imagine Moses on the mountain. God places him there. He looks into the promised land, and God says, you will never end up in the promised land. Moses does not despair, but Moses has hope. He blesses his people and says, you carry this on. God blesses you for the journey. There is hope. The promised land is ahead of us. We can do better. There is hope. There is a larger orientation. There is the global, the grace of God, the all surrounding transformation of our hearts and of how we're together in it. So coming back to the beginning, I dread preaching about climate change, climate crisis, because I feel this small and I feel ill-equipped to address the magnitude of what we're in with. But then I also think and realize that as people of faith, we can do things practically, hands-on. We can do things to preserve, to conserve, to advocate, to lift policies up that care and that help. But in addition to that, as people of faith, we're rooted and grounded in God. And with God, there is hope in the face of tragedy, in the face of Jesus' passing, of Jesus' death, in the face of feeling like crucified, like nailed, like burning up. My friends, it's rough. It's not going to be easy. But there is hope. Our unique Christian faith, our unique contribution is, there is hope. There is hope.